Good evening. Welcome to Moments with Lady K and Mistah TShow, where they converse on motivational living, clearing negativity from your life, local events, and more. Here are your hosts, Kimberly McLemore and Teryc Coles.
All right, good evening and welcome to Moments with Lady K and Mistah TShow. As you know, we're here to converse motivational living, clearing negativity from your life and local events, and more. I'm your host, Kimberly McLemore, and I have with me, of course,
Mistah T.
Woo! Yay! Yes. So better known as Teryc Coles, of course, but Mr. T and Lady K, as they call me, for our amazing conversational show that we have. We are going to do something a little differently today. So we're kind of excited, nervous, but we think it's necessary, and we think that there'll be a lot of people who are going to agree with us on our show topic for today. But before we dive into the show topic, Mr. T, why don't you just kind of tell everybody a little bit more about who you are?
All right. Well, hello, listeners out there, Momenteers. We got to come up with a name for our listeners.
Well, I think you already have the Momenteers.
Momenteers.
We say this every show. We still haven't come up with something.
I know. Well, something's going to stick, and then we're going to roll. We'll like roll with that from there on out. We're like, that's it. But hello, everyone out there in listener land. My name is Teryc Coles, also known as Mr. T, affectionately known by my movers and shakers as Mr. Move with T. I have to thank Michelle, actually, for that nickname. She always introduces me as Mr. Move with T himself. So I appreciate that. So I am the owner, operator of Move with T, which is a fitness program or fitness company here in Northern Virginia, right outside of our nation's capital. I'm also a doggy daddy, which I like to say I'm very proudly a doggy daddy. Posted a picture of him last night. He was just curled up. I was like, this dude is so lazy. He just curls up and just lays there. But I'm a doggy daddy to a wonderful little Shih Tzu named Pepper, who is out walking right now with his other human. So they can be out, doing what dogs need to do. Other than that, I am a contributing writer to the Z Beat as well, where I write some motivational listings. And in these days and times, and this is, I guess, pertinent to our topic of conversation, I'm also an essential worker who is reporting to work Monday through Friday, pretty much as scheduled. But we'll dive into that a little bit more later. And I guess that's all about me. How about you share a little bit about you, Lady K?
Well, first let me just say that, there's a whole lot about you, okay, that people don't know, but this, this is, I guess, enough, to kind of keep them coming towards you, okay? So there's definitely a lot more to learn about Mr. T. He is a phenomenal man, and he has so much that he is, has offered in our community and to others. And so if you hadn't listened to a previous show that I did, and I interviewed him on my other podcast, Your Resource for Success podcast programming, please go back and listen to it. It was amazing how much I learned about the man that I thought I already knew. And I was like, what you hiding, okay? Because there was always so many great things that were coming out of the interview. So go back and listen to it. We did this back in, I want to say, I can't even remember, April, no, let's see, what are we in, May? It was probably February, March. So, check it out. And it was definitely worth listening to. And it was an excellent interview. I'm always excited about interviewing other people and their journeys. And so just to talk a little more about myself, which I normally don't do, because that's just kind of my pet peeve of not knowing how to do it the right way, I guess. But anyway, I am beyond being an author. Most people know me as author Kimberly McLemore. I am the founder of author Kimberly M. McLemore LLC, and I'm also the founder and CEO of the Women's Small Business Initiative. And with both of those programs, I actually have two other podcast that I really, really love, that I do monthly. The Author's Corner comes out once a month, and it's an amazing podcast because I'm really talking to all types of different authors from all over the world. And then my other show that's also on iHeartRadio, and it comes out actually weekly, which is the WSBI Your Resource for Success podcast program, has been phenomenal. I've been doing it for 4 years. Just kind of realized the other day how long I've been doing it and how many followers I finally have, and things are really growing. And that with the way things are today, this is even more of a better opportunity to hear people's stories. They, share great resources about business and so forth. So, it's really a blessing that I'm able to maintain after all these years. And then, of course, we have this amazing show that, I'm co-host with. But, beyond that, I'm a small business consultant as well as a book coach and a trainer for self-publishing. And I'm in the other part of my world outside of this, having businesses, as I'm definitely a project manager. I'm a contractor for the federal government, and I really love what I do. I was kind of in the middle of all this craziness back in March, and I've only been home, it's been about 3 weeks now. Just about 3 weeks, or just about a month for me. Yeah. So it's been very interesting. Had to be in the middle of all of it. And now we're here. So this takes me, I guess, to the place of what our real discussion is going to be today. Because we're doing things a little differently, because we really want to talk about how social distancing is affecting all of our lives, our daily lives. And, we don't think about it much until now, how different things really are. And before we actually started talking on the show, Mr. T and I were talking briefly and thinking how are we going to go through this topic? What are we really going to talk about? We're not doctors. We're not nurses. We're not trying to put any fear in anybody's mind. But a big part of what we're thinking is just sharing what we are dealing with every day. And we know that there are people who are going through the same process in their mind, and of feeling like we're being imprisoned within our own homes. So, I'm going to let T kind of give some of his thoughts and what he feels he's been going through and how social distancing is been affecting everybody. But before we do that, I really kind of want to just give a brief, true statement of what social distancing means. And according to the public health, social distancing is a public health practice that aims to prevent sick people from coming in close contact with healthy people in order to reduce opportunities for disease transmission. It can include large-scale measures like canceling group events or closing public spaces, as well as individual decisions such as avoiding crowds. So as we know, we're all going through the COVID-19, and we have all been mandated through the state of Virginia and, of course, through the federal government about, staying home and having all the social distancing going on. But we do know that it is really still somewhat of a problem, because some people don't really understand what social distancing really does mean. So like I said, I'm going to shut up for a second because I really want to hear T, because Mr. T has some great information that he wants to share, and his kind of just his thought process of how it is affecting him as well. Mr. T, bring it to the table.
Yes, ma'am. All right. So, I guess as I shared at the beginning of our recording today, I am an essential worker, so I'm still reporting to work daily. It's something that we all within my specific company, we've been very concerned about, because I'm a contractor, but our role is very specific to helping with the continuation of the business. Mm-hmm. And of course, when they first, came here to Northern Virginia, there was no plan for this, because no one thought this was ever going to happen, really. Right. So to some degree, like during Monday through Friday, I still feel like I am still doing what I would normally do. I'm fortunate that my company has made some amends. We're piloting a work from home program with my specific department, because the rest of the company is based on the West Coast. Mm-hmm. Instead of me, because I have a desk mate that I work with, so what we're doing is she's coming in the morning, and then she's staying until 1, and I get there at 12:30, and I stay until 6, so we can still be present to answer emails, do any necessary client interaction because we do have a few people that are still coming to the office. So it's been very interesting, working from home for a couple of hours. And, it's kind of like I get a slower start to my day,
Right.
but, I still get to go out, whereas, other folks, like my other half is home 5 days a week. So kind of almost like trapped inside. So at least I find myself fortunate that I'm able to actually still get out and interact with people. So I don't feel like I'm totally trapped inside. But then on the weekends, because I'm not teaching classes, because all of my gyms have temporarily closed until this pandemic clears. So I'm not teaching on the weekends, so I'm inside, so the dog definitely gets walked a lot more frequently. So I know he's not complaining.
And he's like, ooh, I'm loving this.
Yeah, he's like, let's go. You say, let's go outside. He's like, let's go. But I do find myself trying to find ways to stay connected. And I think I mentioned this to you earlier, with Move with Tea, with my brand, with my company. I'm fortunate that I did create some content prior to this. So I still feel connected, with my members and my followers. So I feel there's still some connection. I'm trying to think of ways that I can continue to remain connected with them. That's just trying to figure out the right thing, And then, of course, because I am, like, some instructors are teaching virtually, but I was like, well, I'm still working, so I'm not at home. So, by the time I get home, I'm a little tired.
Right.
And then you're on edge too when you're out. You're just watching people like, don't get too close to me. Stay over there. So there's some of that to it as well. But I did some research, and I think this is really important for those folks who are at home pretty much 24/7. It's really important that you set a routine. Even though you're at home, like the first couple of days, it might feel like vacation, and I'm sure it did for some folks. But then, as time goes on, you definitely need to set a routine. People are as humans, we are creatures of habit. So, if you have the luxury of being able to work from home like the entire time, you set up your schedule. If you're getting up at 8 o'clock in the morning and you're starting your work day by 9, make sure you're in a specific area that's conducive to working. God forbid you have children. For those that have little ones,
Right.
My heart goes out to you because I don't know how y'all are going to manage. I don't have children, so I can't really speak to that. But I know if you need a routine, they need one even more.
Right.
Because, the children are used to a specific routine. So, so you got to manage your own routine plus theirs. But yeah, just maintaining a daily schedule, helps kind of limit having too much downtime, and it gives a sense of regularity. Also, something that's very important is self-care. So working out, or, whatever that is for you, taking the kids outside on like a little field trip. Of course, maintaining that social distancing, of course, but, taking the kids outside. I think any children that are outside should be supervised by an adult. I've seen initially where people were allowing the children just to run around outside as if, this is pre-COVID-19 times. And it's really, I think, imperative that the parents are with their children, because children, unfortunately, and you have a son, so I'm sure you remember, they don't have really any sense of personal space.
Right. Because they're just being kids. They just want to play. Right.
Yeah. So I see kids running in packs, staying close. Now, granted, they're probably all related, so it's kind of like, well, if they're part of your pack, part of your clan, cool. But yeah, I think it's important that, parents do monitor that. But getting back to the self-care, getting some time out of the house, or, working out, or, whatever you do for your personal time that you need, even if it's giving yourself a facial, or, a little mani-pedi at home. Granted, you can't do that every day. You can't do a mani-pedi every day, but, but, just carving out some time for yourself is really, really important. So, I think for those that can, there's so many free platforms where you can kind of hang out but with your friends and family, but virtually. There's like Zoom and Google Hangouts and Skype and FaceTime and, all these different platforms. So if you know that you have family members that you'd like to be able to communicate with and see, by all means, if they understand that technology, utilize it. It's there. I think many of those things were underutilized before, but now
Right.
it's like, okay, this is the time to really take advantage of those platforms. So, and those are things that people can do while maintaining their social distancing, staying safe, washing hands every 20 seconds. As a former healthcare worker, we were always taught 30 seconds. So I'm used to washing my hands for 30 seconds.
Right.
But definitely frequent hand washing. Also keeping your hands moisturized after washing, because, when you're washing your hands more frequently, they tend to get dry. Dry skin is susceptible to, being easily broken. So keep your hands moisturized, at least for now, because the CDC may come out and say something about that, but we'll wait for that to come. But keep your skin healthy and intact. Keep reusable masks. That's a really important thing for me, to let people leave the medical grade masks to the healthcare workers that are out there doing the work. But using a reusable mask, even something as simple as a scarf or bandana tied over your face. I even saw a lady, a fellow instructor. She made a mask out of a bra.
Yes, that is popular. I've seen that a lot.
I was like, hey, I never would have thought, because I don't own bras. But,
Right,
I was
right.
hey, if you got one that's, on its way out, take it, cut it up and use it, make it into a mask,
Exactly.
And it's something reusable. So I'm like, go for it.
Well, and
But,
make sure it's breathable too, because it's funny that you brought this up, because I seen somebody on Facebook who had made this amazing mask out of a bra, but it was too thick and she couldn't actually breathe out of it. So it's like, okay, you want to have some protection, but if you can't breathe, that's not helping you out either. So it was kind of funny to see that. She was like, and it was cute too. Now we have to be fashionable about our masks now. So.
Indeed. I've been wearing to work and everything, because I have so many bandanas from being in all my years teaching.
Right.
Because I used to have long hair, so I always wanted my hair pulled back. But I have all these bandanas, like some are like paisley, some are like plaid, some are tie-dye. So I have all these interesting designs and colors. So I was like, I have cool things to wear to work every day, as I'm traveling, to work, that I can keep my face covered and look stylish as well.
Right, exactly. Oh, too funny. I mean, and it's like, we're laughing because you have to laugh. You have to feel, that you don't have to feel like you're under some type of strain. And even though this is unusual times for us, we're not here to make enlighten about it, or like I said, being rude about it. But at the same token, we're human, and we know that we need to have those days where we're not just so focused on what it is that we're doing and how, this is spreading and how it could affect us. And because we want to get back to normalcy, but we realize that there may be some time before anything is really considered normal. And even though prior to us, we've all been doing the thing of, washing hands and all that type of stuff. But because we're so social group of individuals, we don't always think about when we're hugging somebody or when we're doing something, because the people we care about, whether they're our friends or families, we don't turn around and be like, oh, let me get out the sanitizer, after you hug them, because that's not who we are as humans. But now it's, we can't even hug the people we love unless they're people that we actually live with or, are connected to, because we can't even enjoy those moments that when you haven't seen anybody in a long time, or whatever the case may be, we're used to touching and just having that close contact. So it is different. Our lives are very different. And for me, it's funny because I'm completely opposite. You're able to get out daily and have your normalcy, where for me, it's strictly total teleworking. And I'm even finding telework. I love working from home. I'm not complaining about that, but I actually end up working more and end up working longer hours. And it's just like, wait a minute now, I'm only supposed to be doing 8 hours a day, but it's this thing of, people feeling like they got to be on task with you 24/7. I'm like, no. That's not how this works. And I'm not going to be available 24/7. Right. So,
Right.
So yeah, it's very different that I literally have to force myself to get up. I'm thankful that, I'm able to live in a home where I have my own office. So I have that separate environment where when I'm done, I can shut the door and literally walk away from it. And where some people may not be so, may not have that opportunity because, like you said, depending on their families and, and we're not everybody's prepared to work from home. So this is very new for a lot of people, but it is very different to not be able to have the option of, you know what, I'm going to go out here and just do what I want to do, run some errands and blah, blah, blah. I can do that, but not at the way that we did it before, where it's now every time I walk out the door, I'm literally thinking, what do I need before I walk out? How long am I going to be gone? Who am I going to be in contact with? I got to put my gloves on. I got, you have your face mask. You got this and that. I feel like I'm in some type of horror movie, this flick, because normally I would never think about doing those things. Right. So it's been different. I was telling you earlier, it's funny. I had to run to the store real quickly and pick up some things that I didn't want to run out of for my personal items in my room. And so me and the lady are standing, our little 6 foot, like we're 6 feet away, like we're supposed to, and we're chatting away. And we both were standing just talking about how good it just felt to be able to get out and go to the store, how exciting it was to get out for, that 20, 30 minutes or whatever you need. And any other time I'd be like, I don't want to go to the store today. It's like, I'll wait. I don't want to stand in the lines. I don't want to deal with the people or anything. And now it's an adventure, which I know it's really pathetic to think that I have to feel that way, but I'm sure I'm not the only person who has been feeling that way, and being able to just get out for a minute and, I'll take my walks and everything. And even though I'm in a community, I'm in a pretty large community and it's gated, but there's like over 1,600 people in this community. And now it's like crowded every day. You're trying to figure out, well, what side of the street can I go and walk on? There's a dog over there. Yeah. I mean, it has been crazy, people walking up down. And every time I think I'm taking a new route, I'm like, nope, there's more people over here. And then there's all these dogs and all these kids. And I'm just like, oh my gosh. And it's like, the peace is not there. And trying to get my exercise, because I will be honest, I hate working out from home. So it's just that part I haven't been able to inundate myself with just yet, so I'm trying to get there, got my little weights and a few other things. And, I do box in the garage every now and then, but it's just not the same. I love to be around people who are doing the same thing that I'm doing because it motivates me. So not having that motivation has been really, really tough. And even though, my son, he's grown, we live in the same environment, which I'm so thankful for, that we're here to be able to help each other and protect each other. But he has the same options that you have. He has a normal position where he's essential. So he has to go back and forth to work. So he has that normalcy to be able to come home and be like, whoo, I don't want to see people all day. I'm tired of looking at people, and it's been crazy, for him. But, so coming home to him is a joy, where for me, it's like, I just want to run away. It's like, gotta get out of here today. And I have nowhere to go, so it's social distancing. It's been a little tough, but I'm very thankful to be home because, like I was saying earlier, I was one of those individuals. I travel a lot on my job. So even though I have business, I'm definitely in the trenches, and it was very tough. People making decisions for you about when you can come home or when you can't. And I find it's like, no, I'm coming home and my team is coming home. We're not having this conversation anymore, So, I enjoy the fact that I don't have to get on another plane for a while, and I don't have to stay in any other hotel for a while. So it's been really nice to be able to see my house. I know it's pathetic, I know. But it's the little things. But the other thing you were talking about was routine. And the thing that I have been having conversations, I've been having a lot of talk and conversations about is like, because we're such a society that lives in so many routines, the thing that I thought was very interesting, how what we considered essential was liquor stores and the let's see, I'm trying to say this in the right way without getting in trouble. the weeds places, for medical
dispensaries,
marijuana
dispensaries. I think they're called dispensaries.
I was like, wait a minute.
I don't go to them. I don't utilize their services, but for those who do, enjoy.
Exactly. But I was thinking, okay, let's see, how is this essential again? I'm like, okay, because we're people of routine, my thought process is like, well, you can go to the liquor store, you can definitely drink every day. That's not a good thing, obviously.
Yeah, moderation.
right. And obviously, I had to reverse and think, well, with the medical marijuana, that's important, so for those who need it, I get it, but there's obviously more, involved with that, but I'm thinking, as routine as we all are, these are not always good things. And then, of course, the thought process, I think, is, well, you're at home and then you have playtime, adult playtime. So it's like, there's all these
How
things.
many babies are going to be born in 9
months? Exactly. And it's funny because I won't say where my son works at, but he was saying there's been such a flux of people coming in and getting protection and the after pill and all types of things that you wouldn't even normally look at as being an issue. It has definitely become an issue because, people they're with each other all day. So they're going to be doing things that they would not normally do on a regular basis. And the other thing that I definitely want to bring up that's important is that the other issue that's come up and has expanded tremendously is domestic violence in the home. So, I want to say that if there's anyone out there who is dealing with this, there are still domestic violence facilities and shelters available. There's still the hotlines available in each one of our communities throughout the Northern Virginia area, through D.C., Maryland. All the programs are still available. So there is a huge flux of that going on. Obviously, domestic violence has never stopped. It's never been an issue. It's always been an issue, but the problem is people have closed their eyes to some degree. Well, now it's increased tremendously because the fact that we have these mandates of having to stay at home. So, I'm begging you, women or men or children, if you feel you are being abused and you're going through this, do not hesitate to call 911. Know that there are people out there who are helping. There are shelters available. There's a huge support system because this is extremely important. That this is definitely at a risk, and they're definitely the communities and organizations are trying to figure out better ways that women can get away and keep their children safe that they need to, because it's hard with these new laws. We're being told stay in, but you should not be be put in a position where you feel that you are being abused and you feel afraid that you can't leave. So reach out to somebody you trust. If you feel you're in that and you're in need of help, reach out to me if you're in need of help. For those who don't know, I am a survivor of domestic violence, and being an author, that was how I wrote my first book. And so it's just something that it comes very close to home for me. So I don't feel like you have nowhere to go, and don't feel that people aren't there listening and out there waiting to help you, because they're there. So I'm going to get off of my soapbox on that, but I just think it's important that everybody realizes that this is how social distance, the social distancing has affected people's life. We are thinking differently. We are acting differently. We're looking at things that we hadn't, not that we didn't pay attention to, but we didn't pay attention to it as much because it didn't affect us in a way that it's affecting us today.
Exactly.
So.
Yeah, I appreciate your point about that. It was actually a conversation that I had with another friend, because I was talking about how some people are still coming into the office, and we were just kind of speaking, because they have the option to work from home. So most of the clients, most of the folks that work for our client, they're exercising that right. But it was interesting in that just for the folks that are still coming, although I don't think they're necessarily affected, but of course you never know who's affected by what. But we were just talking about just the reality that some people may be choosing to go ahead and come to work just so they're out of that situation, if they're going through any sort of abuse at home, that they would rather risk it and get sick and go out into the world to go to work, to have that time away as kind of like a safety net. And so we do need to be thoughtful about that. And thank you for sharing that piece, because that's something that is definitely being overlooked as we do practice or continue to practice social distancing. You don't know what's going on in your neighbor's house necessarily, because everybody's inside all the time. So yeah.
And you're welcome. And I mean, sharing it to me is it's important to, just like I said, people just realizing that it's not okay. And, a lot of people don't like to have that topic of conversation in their homes. And obviously, if you are in a home and you're dealing with that, it is very stressful. You're already under stress. And now you have 10 times more stress put on top of you, because there are things you can't do. You can't be out after 8 o'clock. You can't be here. You can't be there. So, a woman who has children, or if you don't have children and you're going through this process, it is hard. It's extremely hard to make that decision, because you're already having a problem making the decision of whether you're going to stay or leave. But now you're literally being told every day, stay at home. You have no choice, don't go out unless you need to. Well, this is a necessity. So if if there's anybody out there who truly, truly feels they are having a problem, you need to reach out. Like I said, if it's an emergency, don't call a friend, call 911. If you're trying to make a plan and you feel somebody that you can trust, definitely reach out to that person, make the plan you need to make so that you can get out safely, and, so that you can continue to live your life in a way that you should be able to, safe. And that's the key. So, but yeah, this whole social distancing, like I said, has been different. It'll be something we will talk about forever and a day. I don't think it will ever not think about this, even when things do get back to normal, as we call it, but
yeah.
And I think
they'll be like, remember when Corona came through here?
Exactly. Yeah, and that's what everybody gonna be calling it, Corona. They ain't gonna call it anything but like Corona. It's Corona, isn't it? So there's gonna be all these conversations. There'll be all these parties, and and all these things going on. People are gonna be at a flux, just like we talked. Like you had made a statement. I think it was last week. I don't know, it was through text, and we were talking about the fact how, once this is over with, the gyms are going to be packed up like crazy, like it was the beginning of the year, so.
Yes. I believe that. I believe it's going to be like New Year's resolutions all over again, because people are going to be like, oh, either they gain weight from being in the house, so they want to get out, or the fact that they can just be out and be at the gym and get back to their normal routines. Yeah. But we're also, as instructors, we're going to have to be thoughtful and while I am encouraging everyone to continue to exercise, your body's going to be a little different, because it's not doing what it would normally do every day. So we're going to have to really encourage those members who are returning to the gym to, take their time. Don't try to just pick up where you left off. You know, it's not like, it was just yesterday, you were working out and you're returning right back to what you would normally do, or like even after being on vacation for a week. And let's say most people don't exercise when they're on vacation. Some people do, which kudos to those folks. But even then, the workout is a little different than what you normally do. So when you return from vacation, you still have to kind of work out a little differently. You got to ease back into it, because your body is had a little bit of a break. So we're definitely going to have to encourage folks to take their time in returning to their regular routines. Plus, you don't want to compromise your immune system, by pushing your body too hard, right out the gate,
Exactly.
So,
Exactly. Yeah. So it's just been different. And, like I said, we're just here, just communicating what we've gone through, what we're seeing and feeling, and we know that there is somebody else out there who's truly connecting to what we're talking about. Mm-hmm. And we don't want you to feel alone, and know that, we're here if you need to reach out to Mr. T or me, Lady K, as we call ourselves on the show. But, we're still just as human. And we're talking about these things because we want people to realize that this is not a joke. But at the same time, you have to laugh. You should be able to feel as normal as you possibly can, because this is this is the norm as of today. As we do get back into what we consider normal, you will still need to think about the things that you've gone through. I personally want to be able to feel comfortable. I don't want to feel like I have to jump back out there and just do everything right at once. I think I really will think about how, you're socializing with people and or being around people you don't know. And, will I automatically think that I want to hug you, or will I automatically want to shake your hand? We don't know. I think that it definitely gives us a whole lot to think about. When we're in restaurants, it's kind of funny how sometimes you'll see things that look kind of dirty or it's not the best. Will I want to go back to those places? No. Even if the food is good, there's going to be a lot of little things that we will have always in the back of our minds that even if they say everything's going to be good, I will tell you personally, I will probably think a little bit harder about where I'm going, where I'm sitting, who I'm talking to, how close. It's because it's just going to be a reality until we have that complete, I think, comfort zone that we're used to having.
Indeed. And also, we want to talk about hand washing. I do want to talk about that. As a former healthcare worker, make sure you're washing your hands for at least 20 seconds, folks. Make sure you're getting in between your fingers, under your fingernails, at least up to your wrist, if not if not all the way up to your elbow if you can. Mm-hmm. And hand washing, I want to mention this too before we go, because I think with the CDC and the WHO mentioning, hand washing, some of us, not all of us, but some of us learning to wash our hands, before you eat. You just came in the house, go in there and wash your hands.
Exactly.
How many of us had our mothers, our aunties, our grandmothers say, you better go wash your hands before you touch that? And you're like, oh man, but you go and wash your hands. And anytime you put your finger in your eye, what do they say? Get your finger out get your finger off your face. Get your hands away from your face. Mm-hmm. So it's interesting that these things that some of us grew up in households where this was common. Where it was common, that we're hearing, the advice of, like I said, our mothers, our aunties, our cousins, our grandmothers. So we're hearing them tell it. To me, it's kind of like I'm hearing that in my ear all over again, as if I was like 6, Right. But I was like, that goes to show that they knew what they were talking about, all those years ago, So I'm just thankful that I was raised in a household, in a family that encouraged hand washing on a regular basis. And so I'm like, well, for me, it's not anything new. And also having, worked in healthcare for as long as I have, doing direct care, once again, I'm used to hand washing. So.
Right. And that's why I say, it's so funny when you mentioned it earlier, I'm thinking, to me, that's just a normal thing to do. But it's amazing how it's not a normal thing for some people. It is now. But like I said, the key is that even when things are considered going back to normal, people need to think about what we just went through and how we're going through it, and that you need to continue to hold on to the things that you've been asked to do. Washing your hands, stop touching your face, don't go to work when you're sick. That's another thing that's important, is that, we're so used to worrying about making our money and taking care of it. And I get it that not everybody is going to have, excuse me, PTO or, as we call it, personal time off or sick, leave and all that. But at the end of the day, it's so vitally important that you take care of yourself. And that you make sure that you're not harming other people around you, on your work, on your jobs, and at home. Quarantine yourself. It's going to become something that you should be thinking about. At least I would be thinking about in the back of my mind that, okay, you know what? It's not worth it. Let me stay home for a couple of days. prep myself to get myself better instead of trying to go to work and work. And if you can, and if now, because we got more options of teleworking, hopefully we'll be able to utilize those tools later on so that we can, if you feel good enough, you can work, but you just can't come in because you don't want to spread your germs. I think, those are things that we definitely needed to think more about as we're coming out of this, during out of month of May, and hopefully, in the month of June, things will be back to normal. But the key is that people just really need to think about what they're doing, and how it affects people, not just them, but all the people that they're surrounded by, whether they're standing next to them, right next to them, or whether they're working, like where I work at, that we're in a cubicle environment. So anything you can think of is going to spread, so it's, we just all need to be mindful of how we act and participate in this, because even after this is over with, you should always keep in the back of your mind what we just went through and how we need to continually protect ourselves as individuals, so we're not hurting other people in that manner. And I've done my preaching for the day. Oh, goodness. But wow. So this has been, like I said, it's not our normal show, but we really wanted to come on and just talk about the things we know people are thinking about, sharing some of our thoughts and concerns and what we're currently going through, and just how as a whole, like I said, how social distancing is affecting our daily lives. And we definitely have gone over our time frame, as we always do, which is just us. But, we hope we shedded some light on this topic for everybody. And if you have any questions, or you just want to send us some love, give us some notes back about, hey, what we're talking about, share some other information. Or also, if you even want to just be a guest on the show, please feel like you can reach out to us, and we would love to have you on and hear your opinion as well, because this whole platform is a conversational platform. It's definitely opinion oriented. It's our opinion. We're, like I said, we're not doctors. We're not nurses or anything like that. We're not here to, pull what everybody else is trying to do. We're not CDC. We're just here talking about everything is personal to us. And, so really, like I said, we're at the end of the show, but T, do you have anything you would like to leave our listeners with this evening before we shut down?
Sure. Well, a couple of things really, really quickly, just for contact, for those of you all out there who want to reach out to us via any of our platforms. We are available through email. We are available through Instagram and Facebook. Our email address is momentstandk@gmail.com. It's moments, momentstandk@gmail.com. You can also find us on Facebook, of course, under Moments with Lady K and Mr. T. So you can message us there as well. You can message us there as well. And then for, I'm stumbling over my words here. But of course, for our Instagram, you can find us. I'm going to pull it up because it's a little bit different. So I have to always just double check. It's the Lady K and Mr. T podcast on Instagram. That's LADYKANDMISTAHT podcast. So you can find us on those platforms, and you can follow us for updates, because when our next show is coming out, and find out other information as well. So I just want to mention that, so you guys know where you can find us and how to reach us. And all I have to wrap everything up with is wash your hands. Lava sus manos.
I love it. Yeah, you can't have a better ending than that. Wash your hands, people, okay? And as Mr. T said, we, go to all of our social media platforms, reach out to us, give us your thoughts, listen to us. Every month we are on here with the show on iHeartRadio, on Spotify, and plus we are on about 10 other platforms. So there's no way you can't hear this. So even if you didn't hear us live, you will be able to go back and listen to us at any point in time on any of our platforms. But we're here at 7 p.m., like I said, once a month. But until next time, you all enjoy the rest of your evening, and good night.
Good night, everyone. Moments with Lady K and Mistah T will return next month at 7 p.m. Follow us on iHeartRadio, Spotify, Spreaker, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, LinkedIn, and Instagram.